It's still summer. It's still way too hot to film in the room where my bookshelves live, so here we are. Hello, my name is Kat, and today I'm hauling books down in the forest. We'll sing a chorus. Don't sing, just don't. I have a nice little stack of, I think, 10 books here, so now I'm going to show them to you. That's how this works. Let's do it. First up, I have here Frankly in Love by David Yoon. This is the Booksplosion Book of the Month pick for September. We're working with Penguin on this one. This is a brand new release. It just came out on Tuesday, and it is a YA contemporary debut. In this book, we follow a Korean-American teenager named Frank Lee. Yes, the title is just a top-notch pun. Now, Frank has a bit of a problem because his parents expect him to date a Korean girl, and the girl he likes, the girl he wants to be with, is white. So Frank enters this fake dating agreement with a Korean girl at his school where they will pretend to date each other to appease their parents, but really they can have their own relationships that they want on the down low. What could possibly go wrong? I just started this book. I'm only like 50 pages in, but I'm already enjoying it so much. Frank has such a wonderful voice, and it's already really funny and charming, and I cannot wait to see what fun rom-com fake dating hijinks ensue from here. But yeah, all of the read-along info is down below in the description if you're interested in joining us this month as we read and discuss Frankly in Love. Next up, I have here a book that I just read last night, and that is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hendricks. This is a graphic novel that just came out at the end of August, and it's about these two friends who work at a pumpkin patch. They've been working there for 4 years, every September and October, but their friendship is kind of seasonal. Like, they don't really talk or hang out outside of the pumpkin patch. Now they are seniors, it's Halloween, it's their last shift together ever, and for their last day, they gotta have some fun. Like, this last shift has to be an adventure. This book was so cute. Like, it's a super fast read. It's a graphic novel, and it's only like 200 pages. The art is great. The writing is great. The story is so fun and cute. Like, by the time I finished this book, I was just grinning so big, and like, my review was just one word, and it was just cute. Cute. This is cute. If you like cute graphic novels and you're looking for one for this autumn season, I highly, highly recommend Pumpkinheads. It was so cute. The next book that I have here is Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. So I originally bought and listened to this via audiobook, but it became one of my favorite reads of the year so far, so I wanted to pick up a hardcover. This book is about the apocalypse. Armageddon is coming. The Antichrist has been born. We follow an angel and a demon who have been on Earth for the last 6,000 years, and they're kind of rivals. Not really. They're more like work friends. And over the last 6,000 years, they've come to kind of like Earth, and they don't want to see it destroyed. So they decide that they need to stop Armageddon. Now, Good Omens is one of those rare occasions where I'm actually going to recommend watching the show over the book. Like, if you're only going to do one, watch the show. I did enjoy the book. I've read it twice now. I listened to the audiobook, I watched the show, and then I reread the physical book. And I do think the book is great. Like, especially if you enjoy Neil Gaiman or Terry Pratchett's writing, I think they're both brilliant writers. So if you want to, like, read their words, then yeah, definitely recommend the book. But the show is just fantastic. Like, it's one of my favorite shows of all time now. Neil Gaiman was super involved in the production of the TV show. So it's like one of the most faithful and best adaptations I've ever seen. And I just loved it. Like, the book, the show, it's all just extremely my shit. Definitely recommend both book and show. But if you're only gonna do one, then watch the show. The show is really, really good. Like, I loved the show so much that I also bought this like $30 hardcover coffee table TV show companion guide. It's full of beautiful pictures and behind the scenes info, and when I was like in peak obsession mode and I was just rewatching the show on a loop, I took small breaks to also read this book. So I loved Good Omens. Good shit. It's real good shit. Somewhat related to my Good Omens obsession, I also bought Guards by Terry Pratchett, this really cool edition. Now, I already bought and read this book a very long time ago. Not this pretty edition, it was like a mass market paperback. But even though I read this, I never explored the Discworld series further. Like, I kind of got overwhelmed by all of the books and like all the different story arcs and like what reading order I should do. But reading Good Omens reminded me just how funny and clever Terry Pratchett's books are. So I really want to read more by him, and I'm hoping that rereading an old favorite can like suck me back into the Discworld world. I really want to read and love like all of the Discworld books so I can justify buying the entire collection in like this beautiful edition that they do. The next book that I have here is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is more of an eerie sci-fi body horror kind of novel. Basically, it's about this boarding school on an island that has been put under quarantine because of the talks. First, the talks killed all the teachers, and then the students became slowly infected, and their bodies were mutated in horrifying ways. So they're under quarantine and waiting for some kind of cure that was promised, but they kind of feel like they've been forgotten about. And then when the main character's best friend slash girlfriend slash I think their relationship is complicated, when she goes missing, our main character decides to break out of the quarantine and go out to try to find her in the forest, which is tox infested and very dangerous. So yeah, we have elements of survival and romance and body horror. It's a standalone, which I always appreciate with speculative fiction. And I've heard that the writing is amazing and gorgeous, which is the big draw for me. Like, I'm kind of squeamish, so I don't know how I'm gonna do with the body horror, but everything else about this sounds like stuff I'm into and just extremely awesome. So I'm very excited to read this. I feel like the eerie atmosphere and horror elements will make this a solid pick for like a seasonal Halloween read, you know? Next up is a book that I just kind of want to rant about for a second. Not about the actual content of the book, but about the edition that I chose to purchase. So I have here this edition of Looking for Alaska by John Green. If you don't know about this book, basically it's John Green's debut novel. It's about a boy who goes to a boarding school and has adventures, learns some life lessons. There's a Hulu series coming out next month. So I wanted to reread this. We chose it for the Booksplosion Book of the Month for August because we all wanted to reread it before the show. And I couldn't find the other 2 copies of this book that I already own. This is my 3rd copy of this book. And because it was my 3rd copy of this book, I was like, I'll try something new. I'll get that little mini paperback edition that I saw. Not a fan of this format. Like, Looking for Alaska, I like that book. But trying to read this tiny little thing with these like thin ass pages, not a good time. Not saying that this little pocket format isn't good for some people, but it is not for me. In general, I do prefer reading physical books to ebooks, but when it comes to this like mini format, I would much rather read on my phone than read this. So yeah, Looking for Alaska as a story gets a thumbs up. But this book format, it's a no from me. And finally, I have 2 books here that I received from the publisher, Harper. I didn't ask for these books, they were just sent to me, but I was very excited and appreciative when I got them. First, they sent me a finished copy of 5 Dark Fates by Kendara Blake. This is the 4th and final book in the 3 Dark Crowns series, a series that I am actually caught up on. I mean, I haven't read this book yet, but I've read the first 3, and I'm very excited to see how this series is gonna wrap up in the final book. And lastly, I have here an advanced copy of Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. Adam Silvera is one of my favorite authors. I've loved all of his books. I think they've all made me cry, and I'm not a big book crier, so. Now, Infinity Sun is different from Adam's previous books in a couple of ways. You know, Adam's previous books have been mostly contemporary standalones, and this is the first in a series, and I believe it's urban fantasy. It's about these two brothers who get caught up in this magical battle that's playing out in the streets of New York. And I don't actually know much more about it besides that, but again, I don't really need to. I already know that I love Adam Silvera's books, and like urban fantasy with a gay hero, I'm in. Really excited to read this. It's actually been sitting on like my bedside table for the last week because I keep intending to start it. So yeah, I will be reading this soon. Oh, and it comes out in January. So fortunately, it's not too long of a wait until it's actually on the shelves. All right, there you have it. Those were the books. This is the end of the haul. That is gonna do it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will have another video up soon, so I will see you then. Bye!